Hi friends, I'm back again with another video. This time I'm back with a specific video because your INI-CET just happened and there were very different kinds of questions from OBS and Gynae this time. And this was one question, one area where I felt that, in the recall videos, maybe not a lot of clarity was being given. This question, frankly, has been a long time in making because, government hospitals regularly, especially AIMS, is getting a high load of these cases. What cases? POCSO, Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences. So because I'm dealing with these cases on a semi-regular to regular basis, I thought it would be a good idea for me to give you some clarity. And, because I did not think it was explained very well in the recall videos. And more than that, the problem with recall is that people tend to remember different things. So depending on who I'm asking what the question was, I might get slightly different options. People tend to remember options or the questions in a way that they think was the correct answer. So maybe an overview of this will give you an idea of how to tackle this question no matter what kind of a situation is given. Right? So let's dive right into it. So the question, I believe, was from one type of recall was 13-year-old girl with UPT positive, what is the next step? A, to preserve clothing, B, to take consent of the mother and do the examination, C, register MLC and inform the police, and D, plan MTP. Right, so quickly first we will just do an overview of this. In this question we have a child, we have a 13-year-old girl who is UPT positive. So now we know this person is a minor, it is less than 18-year-old. We know that the police will have to be informed. We also know that if she is UPT positive, she is carrying a pregnancy, then that will have to be terminated. But what has to be done when, in what order, right? That is the main question. So if we quickly look at the POCSO Act, it was passed in 2012. It is under the Ministry of Women and Child Development, and basically it defines child as anyone who's less than 18 years of age. So this child is falling under our POCSO Act. It is a child, and this child can be of any sex, male or female. The perpetrator can be anyone of any age and can be male or female, which means that even if the perpetrator or the person who is causing the sexual assault is less than 18 years, they can be held culpable. Right. So you have three types of situation in which the victim may present to you. One is the victim with their family has already gone to the police and the police has brought the victim to you, or they have not approached the police, they have come directly to you, or third, they have come with in their hands a court order that tells you to proceed in a certain way. For example, conduct an MTP. Right. So this question is specifically our scenario one. That is, this patient has come on his or her own and they have come. So what should you do? So the first thing you need to remember is that it is your responsibility under this act and under the criminal procedure code to inform the police. If you do not inform the police, then you are liable to legal action, fine, imprisonment, or both, ranging up to almost a year, right? But is this the first thing that you should do? So quickly we will look at the duties of a physician when you have such a case. One is informing the police and filing an MLC. Second is examination. Third is treatment. And fourth is collection of evidence of this assault, right? Coming back to our options. So preservation of clothing, option number one, preservation of clothing. Preservation of clothing makes sense when the assault is recent and you're looking to find maybe blood stains or semen stains on the clothes of the person. She is UPT positive, right? So we know that almost a month has passed since her last period, or at least 15-16 days have passed since at least the day of the assault, even if we were to assume a very early pregnancy. So the optimum time to get evidence from clothes is within actually 72 hours, if not 70 to 96, but even within 7 days we can collect this evidence if the patient has presented to us late. Right. So this is with regards to preservation of clothing. So now we know this girl has come to us quite late and preservation of clothing will not be very helpful to us. So this is not the correct answer. Right. Next we have plan MTP, do an examination, register MLC and inform police. Right. So the first thing ideally we should do is, when a patient comes to us without a police, it is always on the jurisdiction of the medical examiner who comes in contact with this patient, whether this is going to be a medico legal case or this is going to be a non-medico legal or simple hospital case, right? Once you have decided in your head, which I can in this case, this is going to be a medico legal case, what I do is I file an MLC. I will file an MLC. Filing an MLC and making an MLC report are very different things. Filing an MLC just means that I have set in motion a series of events wherein the hospital administration is going to tell the police, and the concerned people are going to come and help out this child, take them to court, call the child protection services, whatever is required. Forming an MLC report is actually quite a tedious and a very long job, in which you are giving your statement of how you perceived this patient was, which will include the injuries, which will include the examination, the consent from the patient or the mother, then the entire detailed history of the events that transpired, whether, whatever was done, whether the clothes that the patient was wearing at that time, whether they were washed or not, whether she has eaten since the episode or not. So it is actually quite a tedious report. So this is a 12-page report of which 3 copies have to be made, right? So filing an MLC and forming an MLC report are 2 very different things. So over here, what they have said is register an MLC, which means just give this patient this tag number, that this is your MLC number, right? And information of the police is something that the hospital authorities carry on eventually, right? So the next thing that we do after filing the MLC is we do an examination, right? Because this is a minor, we take consent of the parent and do the examination. Now, because it is a 13-year-old child, we can take consent of the child also, because it is more than 12 years and we are not doing a procedure, right? But if they are talking about an internal examination or an per vaginal examination, that is when you need to take consent of the guardian, right? So because it has not been specified to us what kind of examination, it could just be a per abdomen examination, then we can just take the consent of the child, right? MTB is something that we will plan eventually. Now, the important thing is, so now we know if we look at these options, this we will do eventually, and the first thing that we have to do is register the MLC. Information of the police will happen side by side, and once we do that, we can get ahead and take the consent and do the examination. But the important thing in this is, and I have a screenshot of the POCSO Act for reference, which says, the medical examination of a child in respect of whom any offence has been committed under this Act shall, notwithstanding an FIR or complaint has not been registered for the offences, be conducted in accordance with section 164A. In simple words, this means that whether or not an FIR has been filed, whether or not the police have come or the police have been informed, you are liable to provide examination and treatment to this child. So you do not have to keep waiting for the police to come, right? Once you have decided this is a medico legal case, a number has been assigned to this case, and you can just leave it to the hospital authorities to inform the police once you have informed them, right? You have to carry on with the treatment and examination. So if I were to, move this question around a little, rephrase this and say, a 13-year-old girl with UPT positive comes with profuse bleeding PV. What will be the next step? So she has come with profuse bleeding PV. My, immediate priority at this time will not be informing the police. At this time, it will be examining and treating the child. So in this case, the option that will become correct will be B, because the first thing you will do is an examination. So this is how you have to work around this. So remember, if it is an emergency situation, the child is vitally not stable or the child is in pain or discomfort and it seems like the treatment will precede the formalities, then go for the examination and treatment first. However, if it is a case where, these things can wait, or this patient has come in a stable form, it is just that the child did not tell her parents and her abdomen started showing around 20-22 weeks and her parents got her to the hospital and it can wait, then what you can do is you can register an MLC, inform the police and then move on with it. Eventually, yes, you will have to do the MTP, but the first thing has to be this emergency examination treatment and the formalities of filing an MLC. That's it for POCSO. Thank you.